Sport fans, I'm Michael Sakala.
And I'm Brandon Wicker.
And how the hell are you?
You can say that one more time.
And how the hell are you?
You do realize it's been since the Packers played the Cowboys that we've been on the air?
Yeah, what a game that was. I still say to this day, when I look back at if I look back at last season to this season, let's be honest, there's probably 3 games that you could rank 1, 2, and 3. And 2 of those 3 games involve the Cowboys and Packers.
My partner here likes to rank every game as it's the best. The best ever.
Let's be honest. This year's game, this year's that Packers and Cowboys game, maybe we'll rank that 3rd. Last year in the divisional game, the Cowboys and Packers playoff game, we'll put that 2nd, which may be 1st. I'll give the Super Bowl as the best game last year. The Patriots coming back and winning, I'll say, was probably in the last season going into where we are today as the best game.
I thought it was a complete failure by the Falcons, not great game.
From an excitement standpoint, but prior to that, other than that, you got to say the Cowboys and Packers, they should play every week because their games are out of control from an excitement standpoint.
We would be remiss without reminding you we're live from Bellacino's, home of the A1 Bomber, the Grinder.
The Bomber. Now, my thought is, before we get into that other sporting event that goes on, I think we should probably talk about maybe one of the greatest sporting events we all had the pleasure of watching.
We had a fantastic one this year.
The World Series. What a series it was. 7 games. Houston prevails.
As I predicted.
I took the Dodgers in 7, and as soon as you said Stros, I knew I lost right then and there.
Okay.
But again, what a series itself. I mean, first game, Dodgers won, and I got notes, we can go over all this. I think where the series itself really kicked off is Game 2. The Stros won 7-6, and there were actually 8 runs scored between the 9th and 11th inning, which was absolutely unbelievable. Game 3, it was kind of, I guess the thing about Game 3, and it's kind of why I'm wearing this, was the whole Hugh Darvish thing with the eyes.
The most unfortunate incident of the series.
He won. I think I got on here. He won a little over 1 inning, and they had to, got rid of him real quick. Game 4, the Dodgers scored 5 runs in the 9th inning to come back, which was an incredible, game itself to score that much. Game 5, which will probably go down as one of the greater games, there were 7 total home runs. There were 5 scores in the 4th inning, 6 runs in the 5th, 5 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th, and 3 in the 9th as the Dodgers tied it up. And this game went
11.
They went to 11 innings.
Yeah.
This game was absolutely incredible. Pitching wise, we had Kershaw and Keuchel. One goes 4 innings, the other one only goes 3 innings, and it turned into a bullpen session for everybody. I think that opened up for the rest of the remainder. Game 6 was kind of, it was in your normal 3-1, and then even Game 7.
Well, when you got to Game 7, it was back to Darvish again, and he pretty much performed the same as he did in the last outing.
And I guess the question a lot of people were asking, should Kershaw start at Game 7?
No.
Now let me ask you this:
it was just the way it fell.
Going back to, I think it was, what game was he in? Going back to Game 2 with Rich Hill, in this whole new way that analytics is taking over, where the upper management now is pretty much telling the manager how to run his pitching. With this analytics and the way they figured out with Rich Hill, when it comes to the 3rd time around of the batters, you got to get him out there, and that's why he only lasted 4 innings. Are you getting used to this, or what do you think about this whole new way and the trend that's going to be taking over Major League?
We're kind of like HBO, right?
Yeah.
Cram it. How's that? I'd rather have a manager's gut feeling.
Well, I'm wondering right now if it's going to be the manager's gut feeling. It's because of that bad taco he had the night before, and he's getting ready to take a shit because it seems like the numbers don't lie.
I get statistics, but if I had to robotically play baseball, I would just leave it off my TV. I wouldn't go there.
But if it shows when it comes 3rd time around and he basically gets hammered, how do you not take that into consideration?
How would we ever have a no-hitter, Mike?
We probably won't, not unless the game's only 4 or 5 innings long.
There you go.
Now the MVP, this was I found pretty interesting.
And he was fantastic, by the way.
He won. He batted .379, 5 home runs, and he scored 8 runs in total. He had 11 hits. I had to go all the way back to 1977 to that famous candy bar itself, the Reggie Jackson. He batted .450. He also had 5 home runs, 3 in Game 6, and he scored 8 runs. So this kid put on a show for us this Springer.
There was also, I looked at that same thing you did. Willie Stargell came close to them numbers once. Yeah, it was amazing, and he also did that from a leadoff spot.
Yeah, I mean, and he's pretty young. I mean, I guess that's also we got to look forward to going into next year with baseball and how it's starting to just build up all this momentum and fandom. Is you got two young teams, Houston and the Dodgers, that were battling back and forth. You got to throw the Yankees in there now, and they always bring the ratings. They're young. There's a lot of young, exciting baseball coming our way.
And we have talked privately, obviously, on this, and you're still on the where Girardi was gotten rid of because of money. You think, or
well, from what
because a couple of changes that have been made were kind of weird.
Well, from what I've been listening to, the so-called baseball experts, they're saying he was going to demand about $7 million this year. And now with this whole trend of analytics is starting to take over as far as managing is concerned, do they really need to pay him that much money? Because they're going to have the guys from up in the head office tell you how to work these things. And and another thing that they're saying, and I know you're going to argue, and I agree with you, is you don't need a superstar manager to manage a superstar Yankee team, which I agree is ridiculous. Yeah.
All right, off of that, what do you think about the Cubs, Davey Martinez, going to Nationals?
Really? When did this?
That's who they named. But getting rid of, you didn't like him that much anyway, I don't think, did you?
Oh, you're talking about Dusty?
Dusty, yeah.
Dusty, yeah. Well, what did I... To me, Dusty, you never won anything. You got to win, don't you? And it's not like he's been around for a couple of years. He's been around for a while.
Yeah. Well, he did win with the Giants. Way back.
Well, maybe way back, but to me, you got to win. I think that's what it comes down to. You got to win, and with that type of team and with that type of lineup, how do you not? You got to be in it.
Yeah.
You know, they should have been in it for the last couple of years. They spent a fortune on their pitching, and they're just not doing it. Now,
So do we get rid of Dave Roberts, or is he okay for the Dodgers because he didn't win?
No, well, he's at least proven that they can get there. He can at least get there. And so I think you got to get there, and then. But now, guess what? You have to assume expectations.
And all these idiots realize there's only two teams that get there, right? I mean, yeah.
But wouldn't you think expectations of Dodgers with that kind of team and that
with
kind
the
of
payroll?
They should be back. If they don't make it again to the World Series,
they're already one of the ones listed.
Yeah.
With the Yankees, the Cubs, the Astros, somebody else next year.
Yeah, you probably could throw the Sox and some other teams in there. Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, the four that you mentioned, you know, the two that were in the World Series, and then you throw in the Cubs and the Yankees, they're probably going to be your front runners, and everybody else has got to catch up to them. And they're all young, which is another thing. Now, not to get too much into it, but you know, there been talked about this being maybe one of the greatest World Series or the greatest World Series ever. And I think personally, because of being a normal Game 7, which we built up all this excitement, it was a normal game. I don't think it was the greatest ever, but I do say it was one of the better ones.
I think, like we stated earlier before the show started, pretty much like the whole playoff run into the World Series was kind of exciting. You know, a lot of games, you know, series that went on.
The fact that the Indians got beat, you know, the Yankees were all exciting. The Cubs, you know, the fact that the Cubs were getting, you know, because they got hot, you know, and they could have been
pitching.
They could have been right in this as well because of all that batting. I guess now we could talk about that other sport that apparently goes on. I think it's on Sundays. I can't remember now because I really
National Fools League.
I know it's not. It happens because it happens on a regular year-to-year basis. These guys get hurt, but you have to think it took the armor took a dent with Aaron Rodgers is now out. They made the announcement that Luck is gone, and now we just lost our rookie sensation Watson.
You're right.
You had a couple other guys. You know, some other quarterbacks are out. Palmer, Tannehill, Bridgewater.
It added up, and you did add a plague to this season, and it's giving, you know, fueling the fire on the other end, and somebody demands that Kaepernick have a job somewhere.
Well, that's what I mean. The question is this now open up a door for catch me if you can Kaepernick, or, like I got down here at the bottom, is it time for somebody to call Tony and ask if he wants to
Tony, can you get out of the booth?
Does he want to get out of the booth? But I mean, the two of them that I really think hurts the NFL and hurts is from a team is now Green Bay went from Super Bowl contenders to
out of it.
now they're hurt. And I think Watson, Texans, they look pretty impressive.
He was 3-3 when he was in
now,
there.
without him, they're back to being the old team, the Texans. They got a great defense, but they'll be on the field.
And they're without Watt.
And they're done. So that's a shame. Yeah. In other news, he's in, he's out. Apparently, we just found out again. Zeke's
You got another judge
play.
to line up on his side.
Here it is. I got on here. This started back in August. This is now the 14th major event, and now Zeke is getting again to play. What I wonder is, from what I'm reading and from what I hear, etc., on the radio, is he will in fact one day get these 6 games.
We just don't know when.
And if it happens next week, now he's out week 10 to 15 if it goes through. Is it really worth it? Should they just have sucked it the hell up and gotten rid of him week 1?
Maybe.
Do you really want to have your best player? Because the team changes. Yeah. Without him, they're not the same team.
Maybe you can get a judge to rule that he can serve it in spring training, in preseason.
All I know is the drama continues, and how much power and money does Jerry really have to keep on pushing? But I think you read a really good article that he has 0 tolerance for domestic violence, correct?
Yes, I did read that.
So here we go with week 9. Who do you got for week 9?
Well, I don't know. I briefly just looked at this. Obviously, Broncos Eagles should have been a good game, but Broncos have been struggling bad at quarterback position. You're looking down. Colts Texans was supposed to be a great game. Now we're into the backup quarterback game there. I guess Redskins Seahawks, Chiefs Cowboys. What's about the best this week offers? What do you think? Because Packers Lions won't be what it was supposed to be.
Well, I start off with week 9 with Denver going to Philly. And you got, like you were saying, Brock Ass Smells is now
he's going to start.
Is now the starter. So I have to assume that the Philly Birds are going to basically blitz him and cause all kind of chaos and basically just destroy him completely. Yeah. And then we got the future Hall of Famer himself, Carson Wentz, who will continue his run towards the league's MVP for this season. I think when it's all said and done, because everybody keeps on wondering, are the Eagles for real? I think if they go out and do what I'm thinking they're going to do, which is not only beat Denver, I think they're going to beat them pretty handily. They're going to now all of a sudden be 8-1 and tell us all, if they're for real. I got the Birds winning this one 31-20. And yes, the Birds now are for real. And then the game you brought up, the game of the backup quarterbacks. How nice would it have been? We could have had Luck versus Watson. Now we got Brissett versus Savage from the Wonder Years, I think. But how nice would this be if it was Romo against Kaepernick?
Wow.
This game's actually, as I wrote down here, this game's actually going to be worse than Friday the 13th, number 6, when Michael goes to New York and savages the city.
Come on.
This will be a battle of field goals as usual. I think Houston wins simply because they got a better defense. I got them winning this 17-10. And then you brought it up, the game of the week, and it's unbelievable how week after week after week, 9 weeks, the game of the week, there's always one team that always consistently seems to be in that game.
Chiefs.
No, I was talking about the other one. The Cowboys. Have you ever noticed that week after week after week after week, the game of the week, somehow, shape, or form, the Cowboys are in it, and here they're only 3-4, for Christ's sake. This team's not even that good, and they're still the game of the week. Well, as I got on here, the Chiefs are heading to Jerry's world, and the word in the court is, if Jerry says it's not going to fit, you're just going to have to acquit. I mean, that's the bottom line. You got the run defense against the run offense. Which power wins?
If you're asking me, I'm going to tick you off because I'm taking Chiefs in this game.
Well,
even if it's by a field goal, that's fine.
It's funny you say that because when I look at this, the Cowboys are they're running again. Zeke's had back-to-back 100-yard games. It wasn't against the greatest defenses out there as far as the Niners and the Redskins, but they do seem to be blasting some holes. They made some changes on their offensive line, moved their guard over from tackle to guard, and brought in, what was his name? The guy from the Cardinals, I think, is now starting as well. But I do think at the end of the day, the Chiefs are faster, and they're smarter, and they're actually a better team. I got the Chiefs. I'm agreeing with you, so I don't know. This game may end up in a tie. I don't know how it works when we both agree on the same team. I got the Chiefs winning this, and I think this also opens up the courts to finally have this dude get suspended. To me, the Cowboys will be 3-5, and I think it's time to start thinking about next season in the draft. Start playing all your rookies. You're never catching the Eagles at this point. And I got the
you got
Chiefs winning
season
this.
over, huh?
Well, at 3-5, how you catch? You're not.
Oh, yeah,
catching
if they lose, I guess.
If you're 3-5 at this point and Zeke's out for the next
Pretty
6
much gotta
weeks,
win out.
you know, Zeke's gone 3-5. Screw it. Play for next season. Get yourself a defensive pass rusher. I got the Chiefs winning this 24-13, or excuse me, 24-23.
They've tried that defensive pass rusher several times.
Yeah, and they just don't do so
out,
good. I don't know, but I do think that's what they're hurting for. Or go get a safety that actually knocks people's heads off. Now we go into college football, and
which is kind of amazing.
My question to you is, I got written down the top 10 here. You know, the rankings finally come out, and you got Georgia number 1, Bama number 2. I think you can flip-flop those either way. How about Notre Dame at number 3?
I don't have a problem with it.
No, I think they deserve it. They've been playing strong. You got Clemson at number 4, Oklahoma at number 5, the Ohio State at 6, Penn State 7, TCU 8, and then the 2 teams who get no love because they're both undefeated is Wisconsin and the U.
Yeah, I win my game and I fell backwards, didn't I? Because I went from 7 to 9 or something. I had a buddy ask me how'd that happen on top. You know, Georgia going over Alabama. They do that all the time. And that game's going to be decided in the SEC championship anyway. I mean, you know, one of them's going to have a loss.
Oh, yeah. Well, like I wrote on here, I checked Wisconsin's last 4 games. They can seriously and easily, I don't want to say easily because I didn't think it happened, they can easily go 12-0 and be playing in the title game. I'm assuming they're going to end up playing the Ohio State in the title game. When you think, since they beat Penn State head-to-head.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what it's going to take. Go undefeated, go in the title game, beat the Ohio State, and then they're in the Final Four. For the U's got something going on here. The U, they have a chance. They could possibly go unbeaten. But where the college gods finally realized it was time to bring back, we got the convicts versus the Catholics again. Finally, they finally realized, bring these 2 back together, put them on the gridiron, because who doesn't love watching these 2 play? Because the U does play Notre Dame, and if they go out and if they win outright, their chances are they're going to play Clemson in the title game. So these 2 do have an actual shot. They're getting no love today, but at the end of the year, they have a good chance to be in the top 4 with Bama and possibly maybe Oklahoma. I'm not really sure how, because Oklahoma's playing Oklahoma State this year.
Today we got Oklahoma at 5 against Oklahoma State, which is 11. Who do you got in that one?
I'm taking Oklahoma.
Okay. How about Miami, for instance? You got Virginia Tech, number 13, going to Miami, number 10.
I'm taking Miami, but if you notice what I wrote down here, watch this game. This is the type of game in the past that Miami actually screws himself and loses. We're going to see if this is the old Miami back in the 80s with Michael Irvin and the boys, or if this is the Miami of the past where they end up screwing themselves and getting beat, and then they're done.
Penn State rebounds on the road against Michigan State?
I think they do. I think what happens is Penn State shows at the end of the year they're tied up with Ohio State, but because the Ohio State beat them outright, they go to the title game. Penn State doesn't.
Bama pounds LSU.
Yeah, but guess what? Watch that game because they always seem to play each other hard. So that's another one. Obviously, I'd taken Bama, but guess what? I'd watch that as well.
Just in closing, back to that other league, I had a few questions I forgot to ask you. What do you think about the season-ending or mid-season, trades? Garoppolo to the 49ers for a second-round pick next year.
I think it was a great pickup by the Niners, and I also love that I read that he may not actually even play this year.
That's what he said, yeah.
There's a good chance, and that's a smart move. Why put him in and have him run for his life and get hurt? Why not let him take the year, learn their system, and then start off fresh next year? I think it's a great idea.
And in typical New England fashion, you know, they get the second-round pick of the 49ers, which should be a good one because they haven't won a game yet this year, right?
Yeah.
And Hoyer gets released, and they sign him to a 3-year deal. He's now Brady's backup.
Yeah, and Brady is playing till I think what they said 50. He's playing till he's 50. Yeah. I think he's going to be he'll be the league MVP in Super Bowl 75.
Your Supergirl and the Panthers losing Kelvin Benjamin to Buffalo for 2 draft picks. What do you think about that one?
I think somebody just threw it. I think they threw the talent.
How about the Dolphins?
I don't think we're dabbing anymore. I think he's going like this.
How about the Dolphins giving up Jay Ajayi to the Eagles?
I think Hootie says it best. That's why the Dolphins make me cry, because they make no sense.
And we would be remiss without saying this one. The Browns had a chance to get A.J. McCarron from the Bengals in a deal, and they botched that one, so they still can't get it.
From what I understand, they dialed in the wrong fax number, and that's why the fax didn't go through for to get the paperwork
Amazing.
on time. Now, we also have to bring up the fact that pizza.
Oh yes, pizza.
Pizza is hurting.
Yeah.
We need all of you out there to start going around your local pizza establishments. Hence the place we're at right now.
Yes, everybody knows that since the NFL has been playing their games, all these people have invested heavily, in the NFL with their TVs and NFL Sunday packages and everything else.
And the product on the field may have gotten worse, but the ingredients in the pizza hasn't changed.
No.
It still tastes good. It's still pizza. Yeah.
Support your local establishments.
Yes.
Just have them put something else on TV.
Please go out and buy your pizza.
There you go.
All right, everyone. Enjoy your Sunday. Make sure you get extra pepperoni, because that's what I like on my pizza, and some mushrooms on the side.
You got it.
Have a great Sunday.
You sang that pretty good. Have a good one.
Hey.